Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new show called Beyond the Boxer. I'm Aura TA, aka Aura the Assassin. I'm here with arguably one of the best VR boxers known to mankind. Whether it's Creed or Era of Combat or soon to be Thrill the Fight 2, they're all going to catch the hands. Best guard by far.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much.
I,
Just,
I, I I will say we got to scratch that Creed part out because I think Glitch has that one. Glitch Rick.
oh, really?
Yeah. Oh my God. I fought him on Creed before EOC, and I couldn't touch him. The way these people move around in the ring, and as soon as throw one hand, I'm immediately stunned. I remember that with Glitch. I was like, this ain't it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
glitch hits hard.
but EOC, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
know.
Definitely.
So what's going on?
Nothing much. I've just been trying to get back into the VR boxing scene a little bit, try to get more into the content creation side too, kind of let the
Mhm,
game get a little bit more updated and then try to come back strong, but kind of peek back into the content creation side like I've always wanted to do now that I have the computer that allows me to.
mhm. No, I mean that's awesome. Like between you, Supa, I know Solly's dipping into it a little bit. Like all this, we'll just get the game out there. It definitely deserves to get the game out there. Majority of the time, I'll jump on Facebook on these quest groups, and it's always like every week or two, someone posts, "What's better, Creed or Throw the Fight?" And immediately I'll type in there, "Era of Combat." Like
Yeah.
those two other games are garbage.
Yeah.
So, but and I always get the same replies. I've never heard of this game, and so hopefully that brings in more people, or it has been at least. I know Supa's videos. I post it everywhere I get the chance.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely shout out to Super. He definitely does his thing with the crazy edits and all that. He definitely goes above and beyond to make his shit look phenomenal.
Hmm. I showed it to my wife, and I was like, "This is it. This is my Canelo moment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get out of the military." And I'm like, "VR sports. You got to support me, babe." And
Yeah.
she just looked at me and just walked away. Wow.
You'll see someday.
One day, one day.
You're already a one-time heavyweight champion.
Man. Um, right now, I hope was it Noble? I hope he brings it back. Those tournaments that we used to have when it first came out, because I can actually compete in them.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no tournaments going on. I'm the only one hosting them,
Yeah.
and I don't want to jump in my own tournaments because that just seems cheesy.
Yeah, you get the wow. Zenith hops in and wins his own tournament.
I'm already hated enough as it is. Like, now let me start my own tournament to start beating people and win. And like, hey, I'm gonna put in my own money and I'm gonna win my own money. Like,
Yeah. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
whew.
All
All
right.
right, man.
And
So,
so
what you got for me?
I think the first question I have for you here is what made you want to get a VR headset? And also, how did you discover VR boxing?
So, I've always been into tech, anything tech, phones, consoles, like really anything. And I always look forward to see, all right, when the next piece of technology comes out, what does it bring? That's the only thing I really like to look at. And so when I heard about VR, I remember like I remember my Nintendo. I can't remember the Nintendo Virtual Boy. I was like, that was garbage.
Yeah.
And there's a few of those other virtual reality things that came out that you play at the fair. Um, but when I heard about the Vive, 2016 or 2017, it dropped. Um, I didn't own it, but I had a buddy of mine in the military who came up to me randomly and said, "Hey, I have this VR headset. They're sending me to Korea for a year. Can I give it to you to hold on to for?" I'm like, "Yeah, hell yeah." So he dropped it off in my place. I put it all together in my living room and I put it on, and right there was like, this is it. This is the next stage of gaming. Like before that, it was the Xbox Connect. And now this. And I'm like, oh man, I just fell in love with it. I haven't bought a console since then. The last one I own is I think is the Xbox 360. Other than that, I'm either playing VR or some computer games. But boxing, how I got into it was Creed was the first one of the first games I bought because originally I was playing like Onward, shooter games, but I got tired of it. But when I got Creed and I fought my first match, I haven't even touched single player to this day. I'll let you know right now. I hate single player games. They're boring to me. It's like a puzzle, and I'm just playing by myself. And the competitive person in me, I'm like, cool. I beat an NPC. It's it's not satisfying. So I got
Yeah.
Creed. Immediately went to multiplayer. I to this day have no idea how a single player campaign even works. Uh, and I fought this guy immediately as soon as we joined the game. He's talking mad shit, and I'm like, the competitive person in me came out. I'm like, hell yeah, knocked him out, and I'm like, this is it. This is the future. Forget these MLG like Call of Duty. Creed is like it's VR competition, sports leagues. It's gonna take over, and that was in 2017, 2018. It's 2023, and I still don't see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Creed. I love the fighting. I love the 1v1 aspect of these games because it's like it's all on you to beat the person. Because normally these team-based games, you could be the best, but you're never going to be. You're only as strong as your weakest link. So you could have another player on your team that could just jack it all up. But 1v1, it's all you. You lose, it's because it's you. You win, it's because it's you. You play the game. Um, so since then, I've been playing Creed for years and years. That was literally the only game I played on VR. It got to the point where I started noticing the more I played, the more that players that have been veterans to the game have been learning how to exploit it. So eventually it came to the point where as soon as the match started, one fight, this guy was just zooming around the whole ring, and I'm like, "Oh wow, this game is ruined."
Yeah.
Like, um, and just before I was about to stop playing, I fought this one guy named 29 Name. I still remember his name to this day. He was an Asian player, and he was good. He wouldn't speed around, and when he would stun me, because in Creed, when you stun somebody, you gotta like put your gloves wherever that. So he stuns me, but he didn't keep hitting me. He stopped,
Hmm.
and I'm like, huh. So him and I just started playing, and we would just if we stun each other, we back up, wait, but we would never like go crazy around the ring and try and spam.
Yeah.
So eventually he disappeared. I don't know where he went to this day. He just gone. And I started playing that way. No matter who I played with, what made Creed fun again for me was I find a player and I would stick to those principles of I'm not going to spam. I'm going to throw these combinations. If I stun you, um, I just back up. Now I lost a lot of games because of that, but because of it, like my accuracy got really good with it. So eventually, just before EOC dropped, that's when I ran to the Creed Discord with where Glitch is at. There was this guy named The Body who's like this fitness, like a whole
Mm-hmm.
bunch of EOC players right now that are in here. There was that one Creed group, and they were like Glitch was like 301 something like that. Which, by the way, to this day, I gave him his second loss. I remember that because I dropped my principles when he beat the crap out of me, and I just went all spam on him, and I finally got a win. I'll never let that go. I'll always remind Glitch of that. So yeah,
Nice.
so it's like right before EOC dropped, and then when that dropped, I'm like, all right. I don't remember how I got into the Discord. Somebody in there mentioned it. I bought the game, first day release. The first fight too was formerly known as Ice Bear.
Yeah.
He was my first fight I remember, and that fight right there was probably like this is the next stage of like sim like boxing. And I'm like, Creed is in the trash. I have not touched Creed since EOC. EOC, even back then when it first released, if you remember, when it was like sock and boppers, there
Mm-hmm.
was no dances. I was
Yeah.
like, this is it, man. This is what I enjoy playing. So EOC and maybe like one computer game I'll play, but the majority of the time you'll see me playing VR EOC. And because I only play EOC and what I did in Creed translated pretty well with my accuracy. And with EOC now, I'm like, I want to be the best. So nonstop.
Yeah.
I kept playing people. Um, what I got to a point of doing as well is on the PC version, you can fight bots. So I would fight a bot and I would try different tactics. I'm like, all right, I'm going to fight this bot for 1 round. I'm just going to go for the body, see how much damage I did. Rounds over, I see the damage. Okay, now I'm going to fight him again. I'm just going to throw jabs. How much damage does it do? Okay. Then I do it again. I'm just going to throw hooks. How much damage does it do? And from there, I would see what the damage. I'm like, okay, if I hit this, if I hit that. See, people don't know that. I was so deep into the game, like I know what points I need to hit on these players. So when people keep saying like body shots don't work, I'm like, okay, they work.
Yeah.
You just gotta make sure you know where you land them and land them good. And so everyone's always got this high guard that eventually everyone started following once I start doing that. And I remember I started doing that because in that mirror at the very beginning of the game, I would look in the mirror. I would see, okay, my hand's got to be here. Hand's got to be here. I'm like, okay. And that's when it came to Zenith is cheating. Zenith has his high guard. He can't get past it. I'm like, all I did was stood in front of the game mirror. I'm like, this is where my hands actually have to be. Because normally you're right here, but in the game, it's like down here. So you just got to raise them up higher.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. I forgot where I was going with all this. I
Yeah.
just remember, man, that's just how it all started. There, that's how I got into EOC.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely remember Ice Bear. Got all those fights.
Oh my god, Ice Bear. Now known as Blair Bear.
Mm-hmm.
Please forgive me if I mess it up, since she has transitioned.
Mm-hmm.
um, but back then, Ice Bear was like the top. I remember that, and I hated fighting him because fighting everyone else, I'm like, okay, I know how far the majority of people's reaches, but she was one of the very few with the Vive wands that
Mm-hmm.
could be across the ring. And sometimes when Ice would, he'd throw up his webcam, you could see when he fights. And I see him throw his jab, he like bop,
Yeah.
just bop you with the wand. I'm like, and he's across the ring. I'm like, mother, mother. But like people have said, everyone's kind of a puzzle. You just got to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I learned through multiple fights that with Ice Bear or Blair Bear, as long as I didn't give her room to breathe, I could beat her.
Yeah.
And so I remember we would fight later on, and I started dropping him because I just wouldn't give him distance. I'm like, I got to stay on him all times, give him distance. I can't out jab him with those wands. See, I'm messing it up. Please forgive me, Ice.
Yeah.
But eventually I started beating Blair Bear. And I'm like, hell yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And back then, um, I was just so competitive. Like me outside, I'm a very competitive person. We could play Monopoly, and I best believe you will pay me if you land on Boardwalk,
Yeah.
and we will trash talk. And that's just from my love of boxing and UFC. The trash talk, the hype, it makes up for it, you know. So I
Mm-hmm.
brought that to EOC when I first moved in, which was probably my biggest mistake, was because I brought that trash talk, which is kind of like what CJ is doing right now,
Yeah.
but I brought it to people that are kind of sensitive
Yeah.
and weren't in the same mentality as I was. And I was like, oh, whoops. And I kind of made some enemies with the trash talk. And I'm like, oh, these guys aren't as competitive as I thought they would be for a competitive fighting game. So that
Yeah.
would, man, you probably have a question for that later in the run. So I don't want to dig
Mm-hmm.
too deep into that. But yeah, that again, the competitive I love it. Like you beat me, and I'm like, I want to fight the best player, and I want to learn how to beat that person.
Yeah.
That's what I always want to do. So now I'm just trying to figure out who that person is. These Japanese folks, those guys always give me a tough time nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Speaking on earlier, I definitely remember Ice Bear's key. Unlocking them was after you showed me the high guard. All you had to do, stay right in front of her, sit and like do the little Tyson bobs, just hit the
Yeah.
hooks, step back, and then hit a kind of like a step back, right jab or not a right jab, jab, which would be I jab and then I cross. So I always do a
Hmm.
1-2. I hardly ever just do a one. So I always jab and then cross, or I cross and then jab. And I would switch that up. She would never know which one that you're throwing. And
Yep.
the last fights that I fought her, not trying to brag, but it was 3-0. So definitely
It's
if she returns to try to challenge me again.
I'm not sure if you're a big fan of UFC,
Yeah.
but the biggest comparison that I can make about Blair Bear is like the Ronda Rousey of EOC. We all came in as newbies, but she had already had a pretty good high standard of technique.
Yeah.
But over time, like Blair Bear stagnated, continued to stay there as everyone kind of started progressing. Like, okay, learn about the high guard. Okay, we no, the majority of people don't know how to fight, but they learn like, oh, I shouldn't stand in front of this person. I should probably move side to side now.
Yeah.
I should throw hooks instead of just spam hams like Creed because we all came from the Creed background. So slowly, the game has the player's skill level has progressed,
Yeah.
and Blair Bear, to take nothing away, set the standard, but people started slowly catching up to that. And then somewhere along the line, she disappeared.
Yeah.
Um, I think she came back recently, but I think she doesn't have the vibe anymore, which really hurts.
Yeah.
No more wands for you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, not to take it away. She kicked ass. She's beaten me, and more respect to it is okay. I only want to fight Blair Bear because Blair Bear is the only person that at the time could beat me.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna keep fighting this person. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna watch these YouTube videos. Oh, I
Yeah.
got a duck.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, good times back then, man.
Yeah. Speaking on that, I've never actually fought in Creed. I've been probably you can probably tell I've been strictly thrill of the fight. I
What?
never fought a PvP match before Era of Combat.
What?
Never touched it.
Yeah. Man, if talk, you know how if you can have proxy chat in any game, the toxic it just comes out of anyone you play. You beat them, it doesn't matter. You're the biggest piece of shit to them.
Hmm.
Fight me again, blah blah blah. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, you've never played Creed in general or just
I played the demo. That was
dang,
the first VR boxing experience I had, and I ran over like UFC and started like pounding them out while they were on the ground. I was like, yeah, I like this.
dang man. I mean, I guess I could say the same for Thrill of the Fight because like I said, I'm not a single player fan. I bought the game. I probably played it less than 5 times. Got on there through a few. I'm like, okay. I started noticing that if I hit this person there, his arm's gonna drop there. I was like, oh, this isn't fun.
Yeah.
So I played it like 3 times, maybe. And I went back to Creed. I
Yeah.
was like PvP, because there's always someone different fighting different.
Yeah.
So
I just thought
that's
Creed
why
always looked kind of strange, so I stuck to it. And my secret was I played Moneymaker Mike. I would go to the little setup thing, the little settings where you can change it. I would turn everything up all the way max to like 200. That way, if I got hit a couple times, I was paying for it, and that's how I got so fast. I started like
mm,
working the speed bags. I'd do normal speed bags, work it back, then I'd do hook or uppercuts, and I would just sit and train every single day. Like, okay, do like 100 uppercuts, do 100 like hooks on the bag, and after I'm dead tired, go and fight Moneymaker Mike at 200 max speed and just force myself to move until I literally can't play anymore. And sadly, I'm not like that anymore. I don't have the time for that. So that's why I
see,
dropped.
like even you talking about those settings, like when people talk about I put X multiplier this on Thrill of the Fight, I have no idea what anyone's talking about.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, they probably raised the difficulty.
Yeah.
But when it comes to training, like you mentioned, like, how do I put it? I've been in the army for like 15 years, and there's a requirement every 6 months that you have to pass what's called a physical fitness test. Push ups, sit ups, and like a 2 mile run. They changed it nowadays, but back then that's what it was. And me, I've only been a weightlifter. I've been in for 15 years, and people always tell me, "Even oh, you'll learn to love the run." Hate fucking running.
Yeah.
Hate it with a passion. And when I got into EOC and realized that I was on almost having a borderline heart attack at my first match. Back then, we did like 2 rounds, minute and a half, and we were all winded. Like, like this is a good cardio exercise. And so, what I learned is playing EOC, I completely substituted all my cardio to be EOC only. And now, to this day, the only time I run is on this fitness test. This 2 mile run is the only time I ever run. All my cardio comes straight from this game,
Nice.
and it works. I feel like I'm in a better cardio shape when I go on my run. Um, my stamina is great and nothing, and it's just I have fun. Like I wish I could show you these photos, but when I would fight the Japanese folks, after 45 minutes, my watch tells me like I know it's not as accurate, but to see like you burn like 800 plus calories,
Yeah.
like I couldn't do that on a regular run. Like it would show me like 300 calories. I'm like, okay, that's good. But 800 plus calories from playing a video game. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like I am so happy for that. That's awesome. And now I just don't run. I
Yeah.
don't run at all. It's cool.
Yeah, definitely. So the next question I had for you is what made you want to start hosting your own tournaments?
All right. So I noticed at one point Noble was hosting the tournaments, and it was cool. Um, it was just more like he states, it's all bragging rights. Have fun with it. But to me, I'm like, this is an opportunity now when Observer Mode came out that leagues can make like there's so much potential what you can do with it. You have all these weight classes. You have Observer Mode with multiple slots that you can watch, like how Supa does. You can make a great league, different viewpoints of watching the fight, and you have these weight classes. So it's not like kind of like VFC where like you can't change it. Like you can only have one champion unless you could think of a different way to have a different champion. But in EOC, you can have a heavyweight champion, light heavyweight, bantamweight, featherweight, all this craziness, and that's stuck to my head because I'm like, man, this could be really competitive. But to execute it, it wasn't there because at the time it was still only for PCVR, and that community was small, and you remember that.
Yeah.
Um, Noble kind of disappeared, and nobody was really doing like tournaments for it. It was always in my head like I would love to host it. At the same time, I know that would involve more work outside of it when I love playing it, but nobody was doing it, and I'm like, man, I wish someone was doing it. And it got to the point where like, all right, you know what? The 1 year anniversary for EOC is coming up, and a tournament hasn't been done in months, 6 months at this point or something. I'm like, I'm gonna talk to Stevens. I'm like, hey, is it cool if I host one? I won't participate in it because when I even mentioned it, I remember Bushman was like, well, are you participating in it? Because if you are, we might as well just call you the winner.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I'm like, no, no, I want to host it. I want to do it for the community because this $20 game has brought so much fun and joy into my gaming life and me being competitive. Like I want people to enjoy this game. No one's doing anything for the 1 year. Steven's like, heck yeah, do it, go for it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna throw in $100 of my own money, and So put it in there, and then he mentioned, Siemens hit me up again. He's like, you know what? For every 5 people that join, I'll throw in another 100. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So I did my absolute best to like put it on Facebook, Reddit, even on Throw the Fight boards. EOC, come play. $100 here. I think you participated in it, right? It
Yeah.
was okay. I remember that, and so it was tough to get. We had about what 16. It was up to $400. So yeah, we had 15 plus people. So about 16 actively participated, which was an incredible number, just for the simple fact that it was not out on Quest. And that was to me just organizing, hosting, and letting people have fun and fight it out was so much fun that I'm like, I want to keep doing it. But if $400, if it took $400 to bring out 15 people max, there's just no way that I could do that monthly where we won't have that many people. So I had to sit back and wait for the Quest release version. And now, like next week's tournament, the first day I put it up, there's already 14 people signed up. So I'm like, there are competitive people out there that want to compete and be the best of the best. It's a video game, but same thing happens for Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like you can be the best of best at Call of Duty, doesn't make you the best soldier. Same thing for boxing. Like it's a game at the end. You're not the best boxer, but it's cool to be competitive. And these are for people that are kind of like solo. They don't want to work with a team. They rather be the best on their own. So I got into the hosting it. And honestly, I I don't want. I'd rather play than host. So like I told you earlier, and Solly, like I will host these. And so hopefully Noble, like you mentioned, he'll start doing it again bi-monthly, which is cool. But I've reached out to VR Master League. I reached out to VR Fight Nights and a third one. And I'm like, hey, look. And I take Supa's video. I'm like, look what this can do. You have all these games. You got Breachers, Onward, Contractors, all these shooting games, and freaking what's that one other game, tennis or something like that. But there's no boxing. Like this is the potential. Like I don't want to host it, but I'll do it because it's just fun. So, but while I'm hosting them, I do want someone bigger, more organized, the people that have more free time, that have like 20 people on their staff, like some of these big names that have that many people. Like right now for what we got going on, it's just three: me, you, Solly. You guys are helping me out.
Yeah.
Um, and so I just I want hopefully a bigger organization to see the potential what this can bring and push it forward. I really do think like this boxing game, and it doesn't have to be EOC. It'll maybe it won't be EOC. Maybe it'll be Thrill of the Fight 2 when that comes out. Because I'm sure they're all looking at Thrill of the Fight 2 and like, yeah, we're gonna host that, and maybe that'll be the game. But for now, like I feel like hosting tournaments, it keeps people active in the game. And honestly, I've noticed more people joining the EOC Discord as I put it up in like different fighting games that are coming. I'm not sure if you're part of the Bar Knuckle Fighting Discord. There's a Bar Knuckle Fighting game that's coming out. And I'll post EOC tournament flyers in there.
Yeah.
I'll post EOC tournament flyers in the Thrill the Fight or on Facebook. Every time, every week, I see someone post what's the better game, Throw the Fight or Creed. I'm like, actually, it's this game. And by the way, there's this tournament. Come check it out. $4.99 on App Lab. And
Yeah.
they'll message me every time or reply like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to check it out. And so I think it does have an effect that hosting tournaments, people want to participate in it. It's cool. It's a lot of fun. And hopefully, like I said, someone bigger takes over and I just work my way out of my own league and like jump over. I'm like, all right, guys, let's all move over here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I got into the hosting gig.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely see a lot of potential for Thrill to Fight 2, especially content creation wise, because all the YouTubers back in the day that posted videos on Thrill to Fight 1 is going to be, oh, Thrill to Fight 2 online, grab your friends and go and fight each other because there's so many YouTubers that tried out Creed, and that's kind of where I got to
Mhm.
see it. I got I don't know if you've heard of him, but there's a YouTube channel called VR Boxing. It's Pitt the VR boxing coach.
Isn't that the guy that posts like a whole bunch of thrill the fight stuff?
Yeah, he's an
I think.
actual boxer.
Okay, I think I've seen him.
Yeah, I got him
Right.
to try Era of Combat way back when it first came out. I
Okay.
started posting on, hey, try Era of Combat, try Era of Combat, and he didn't
Mhm.
want to try multiplayer because he has a terrible connection and he was having to Steam Link it. So he
Yeah.
tried single player, and unfortunately he hated it. So I'm trying to like get him to like, oh look, it's multiplayer, it's a better connection straight off the quest.
Mhm.
Trying to get him to see that, and hopefully we can get him to come back for that and go to round two.
Oh, that sucks. That is one terrible thing that probably has hurt this game is people from Thrill the Fight come in, especially back then. Like you had to get on the Discord to hopefully get lucky and find a match with me, you, or Jesus.
Yeah,
And if you didn't, you go on single player and you fight this terrible bot. And it's like, this game sucks.
yeah,
Refund. Especially when it was just the PC VR version. Thankfully, Stevens brought out the Quest and said no bots.
yeah,
Like, good, good. You're a solo developer. You ain't got the time for that, man.
yeah,
You got a kid, you got a family, you got a primary job. Like, you can't do all that.
yeah,
So, yeah, I remember that.
yeah.
That sucks. I did not know about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Um,
cringing as soon as I seen him go to single player. I was like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be terrible." But
I remember when Dana White tried to throw the fight,
yeah,
and we're all like, "No, someone give him a copy of EOC." Like, can you imagine? And I fantasize about this. Dana White does his UFC thing, and now does this silly power slap. I'm not sure if you're a fan of it. I don't. I haven't watched a single thing about. But
no,
how cool would it be if there was some way he can monetize pushing into the VR fighting like Lee? I'm like, man, I'm sure someone like him or someone else would could find a way to make this bigger and reach a different audience because essentially he's doing power slap to try and get a different audience.
yeah,
Now, hey man, there's this video game you could bring a a really big audience of young to much older guys, and shoot, man, that's money right there. I'm sure you could figure something out.
yeah,
That would be awesome.
yeah. Each
And
player,
that's when I can really quit the army and
yeah,
get signed.
yeah, that'd be cool. Each player can have like their own 6 foot little octagon, and they could be like facing each other in like a venue. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, man,
We'll get there one day.
right? Shoot, man, I'm tired. From time to time, I would go sparring, real life sparring, and it's not cool getting hit, man.
Yeah,
'Cause I was like, I'm tired of being hit in the face. It's not fun. I'd rather get in a virtual game and feel like I'm the best there instead
yeah,
of sacrificing my health.
yeah. Oh, and you're basically unbeatable. There's no reason to step in an actual ring.
That's right. No, man. I, I'm one day. You know what Blue Hatter got me? I
Yeah,
think you heard of that one.
yeah,
He got me by a decision. I was actually surprised when we first started fighting. He was like, everyone else, spam hands,
yeah,
you know, all that stuff. But he over time, he's gotten better. He definitely still has spam hands. I seen him fight River in this last one for the fight week, the final fight. But he has a guard, and it's good. He's more reactive. He just going crazy. So there someone will be there and start beating me frequently
yeah.
eventually.
Eventually,
or or I'm just gonna quit of old age and like I'm done. So I remember back then though, I was like, Zenith is exploiting this. Zenith is exploiting that. He's doing spam hands. I'm like, I spam. Remember that? I'm like, what?
yeah,
I don't spam. I throw a combination and I back up. Like he cat paws. I'm like, I didn't even know what cat pawing was at the time, but I realize now that in the game you can see when you throw a jab in the game, it looks like, especially when you have a high guard, it looks like your hand's coming down type of thing. And so now I understand like, oh, and then if you hit the bag or whatever, when you actually do like a quick snap, your damage does increase.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell the world right now, I don't do that. It got to the point where it was so hot in that Discord when I went over to fight with the Japanese folks, I would put up my webcam so they could see me play and make sure like, I'm not doing any of that of what I'm being accused of. And so Japanese people are a lot friendlier than
Yeah.
the Americans.
Yeah. Yeah. They're all a bunch of angry people that want to win and get mad when they end up losing.
I mean, there's always something like, oh, I lost because of this. I lost because of that. And we almost had a relapse when the quest came out, and all these new people came in and started like dissecting me again, especially CJ. Oh, Zenith is doing this and that. I'm like, wow. I was like, someone said the same thing about me a year ago.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not new to me. But back then, I remember when I shouldn't, I actually cared back then. I didn't want people to think that, and I would get baited, and I type back. I'm like, I don't do this. You just suck. Like, keeping it short.
Yeah.
But now this time around, when I saw it, I'm like, whatever, man. When you find the secret sauce, the sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, he does this. I'm like, okay, yeah, I do that. I do. And my hands go up. I jab when I see you. Your hands down. I hook you when you're not blocking your side. I hit your body. Well, because everyone likes to say like the body does nothing. I'm like, hey, that's good for me because I'm gonna come slip around. I'm gonna hit you in the body.
Yeah.
So, but nah, I exploit everything. I don't know.
Yeah. Definitely
Good time.
so. Yeah, I can't wait for the next patch.
Dude, oh my god. I'm glad I drank that before you said that. Can't wait to I'm trying to remember how that conversation went. Man. I feel like I remember saying something like they should fix this when it was look, the host guest. Remember the host guest bug? Like no matter what, for some reason, if it went to decision, majority of the time the host would lose
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember now. And I would mention that like they really need to fix this because a player's gonna play and he's gonna lose and feel like he sucks. And then when I get accused of that, like all Zenith cares about is fixing this, when really we need to fix his exploits. Like the next patch is gonna be about you. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Not in those words, but like it turned into like, yeah, you're just trying to push this fix to try and get the fix we're really working on, which is basically debuffing you in some shape or way. I'm like, wow, man. I spent so much time with you, with Jesus, when we would throw up one round, like, let's see what this bug does. And we would report it. And speaking of that moderator, I'm not going to say his name. At one point, that moderator couldn't even play because remember that other bug where if you played for some reason, your profile was bugged and you were stuck in adjoining.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you remember that.
Yeah.
Well, at the time, nobody knew what the problem was. And so him and I, when we were cool, he was like, oh, one of us had the bug, or the bug was like, you know what? Let's figure it out. So I'm like, let's try this setting. Let's try this setting. Let's try. And towards the end, I said, let's both make a new profile. So we both made a new profile, and look at that, we were able to connect. I'm like, oh, got a burp, but I'm like, so it's something's up with our profiles. I switched back to my regular profile. He stayed on the new one. We were able to connect. Then that moderator goes back on his old profile, couldn't connect. Boom, problem solved. That was like one of the cool times during that game was like finding all the bugs and reporting it.
Yeah.
And that's all I wanted to do. And so the next bug was that stupid host guest bug where the host will lose if it goes to decision no matter what. And then that's when things were getting hot and heated and like, nah, Zenith is trying to throw everybody off. We need to stop his exploits
Yeah.
and all this craziness. I'm like, oh man, there there is nothing that I'm doing that you can't do yourself. And like I said back then, I actually gave a shit and cared. I'm like, you know what? If Steven wants to, like, I'll throw up my webcam, watch me fight. If I'm doing something that's exploitive, let's fix it. Let's do it. No, 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 you hacker.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. You just suck. I'm surprised I wasn't banned.
Yeah.
Like you just suck, dude. Whatever.
Yeah, I definitely remember those times.
Good times, good times.
Yeah.
Poor I remember I was like, I'm gonna end up like Polar and get banned. You know. On a side note about Polar, you remember how he got banned?
I don't know.
He did something stupid in voice chat with Noble and the two other mods and went in there with his buddies and just started causing Polar. People don't know. I think he's like 15. He's a he's a young kid, and he got banned. And when it came up to the anniversary EOC, when Stevens gave me his blessing, like, yeah, do this, do that, I went out and reached out to the old school vets, Cough Low,
Mhm.
Dosey Do. I'm like, hey man, you should come back. There's this EOC thing. It'd be cool to have the old gang back. And I even went out to Polar. I reached out, I was like, Polar, you still banned? He's like, yep. And him and I actually got to talking. That's when I learned that he's just a young kid, military brat, let alone. And I'm like, you know what? I went out, reached out to Stevens, and I'm like, Stevens, I will vouch for this kid. Like, if you can unban him, he was an idiot, and if he does something stupid, I'll take responsibility for stupidity. And
Yeah.
so I got him unbanned, and he's back. Trash talk, like little less, bannable stuff, but he
Yeah.
still likes to trash talk.
Some
So
normal
yeah,
boxing trash talk you should get.
yeah, absolutely. As long as it doesn't get crazy, obviously. But like I said, we playing this game, you meet all walks of life with different levels of sensitivity. Like, oh God, he said this about me. Ban. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm, that was fun. Ah, man. Now I'm thinking about, man, I miss Dosey Do, man. God, he was a cool guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I was discussing with CJ. We hopped in voice chat about like a week ago. We're working on guard, and he was showing me all the guards. And since my character's glitched to be super small, I've even tried like standing on a chair and trying to do it that way. I'm still short,
Yeah,
and I was doing the same guards he was doing. He told me to like put my hands like way up in front of my head, and he was like doing those kind of punches, and it was still getting through. He would do it, and I would start the spam punches, and it wouldn't get through. So
that's
it's just stuff like that that's just really weird right now, and I was also telling him about the, glitch that certain moderator did where if you got knocked down, you could press the quest menu and you just instantly get up.
yeah. That was that was another bug I remember reporting. But I know that's a stupid bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with their quest, man. Because I know in PCVR you're like you're normal, but when we fought on Quest, I'm like, this ain't even a match, man. You're like this little tiny
Yeah.
little thing, like you're bugged out.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
So hopefully they fix that. I just, you know what? I'm just like, you know what? Put an equalized height. I'd rather that than to deal with what you're getting screwed over with and what people that are intentionally height glitching,
Yeah.
are getting disqualified for
Yeah.
these tournaments, which is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But
My thing is like whenever you go to the Discord and you try to be like a dude named Champ Boxer, I mean, I don't mind, but he does like spinning back fist. He'll do the hammer fist, and he'll height glitch. He'll be like 7 foot tall, go down to like yeah, like a Mario, like he fucking got hit like Mario and shrink down to like 3 feet, and he'll start
mhm.
like punching your ankles and shit. And like I went and reported, I was like, oh, just in case you fight Champ Boxer, he's a height glitcher. And there's people in Discord like, oh no, maybe he's not doing it on purpose. I'm like, he literally just did the like jerk off motion at me and then he grew like he ate a mushroom. I'm pretty sure he knows what he's doing based on his fight
Mhm.
style, and it keeps happening. It's just like
Yeah,
people are
like
always quick to defend the cheaters.
one thing, like since day one, I won't judge anyone for their fight style, how they play a game. Like, who are we to tell people like, no, you put these, parameters or things how you can fight. Like you just can't tell someone how to play.
Right.
Not everyone that plays this game is natural, has any like real life experience,
Right.
this and that. So I won't ever like if someone backhands, whatever,
Yeah.
backhand. Um, but when they start height glitching, yeah, I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Or they teleport to the middle of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Or when I knock you down and you do that stupid bug, I know you're doing that bug, but
Yeah.
that's fine. That's still not going to save you. I'm going to keep knocking you down. Um,
Yeah.
but it's tough, but I don't let it get to me. I try to see it as an opportunity. I'm like, this is a new way that someone's fighting I've never seen before. The competitive person in me, like if I lose, I'll feel okay because you had the cheat to beat me. But I'm gonna figure out how do I beat this.
Yeah.
And I've faced a few of those guys already, like humongous, and I'm like swinging in the air trying to hit the face. I'm like, I have to stick to the body and just get around that way. But hopefully those bugs get worked out soon enough. Stevens just has only so much time on his hands. You know, to think of it, we should interview Stevens too. Like, hey, let's we're at here ask you the tough questions.
Yeah. He'd be down
So
for it. Yeah.
absolutely, we should reach out to him.
I'll
But
definitely try. So, kind of speaking on that, we've been talking about the players a little bit. Who would you consider? I mean, I know you have the pound for pound list in your official Discord, but
mm,
you personally, over the years that you fought, it can be both games or just Aero Combat strictly. If you had to make a top five pound for pound list, American, Japanese, wherever, who would you put as your top five that has been the toughest to beat?
okay, so for me, oh man, the if coming into the game immediately off the top of my head, Duram, one of the Japanese people. He's the only player that I know that has beat me consecutively. And when I say that, like I could fight Hisanaga or I can fight Lil Maui, I'm just throwing names out there, and they could land a lucky punch on me and you get knocked out. I don't really count those. Like, you first, I'm not taking it away. You beat me. But like, I'm talking like I'm struggling. Duram makes me struggle. He's beaten me back to back 2 or 3 times at one point. And I remember those moments because it's so rare.
Yeah.
It's so rare. That's how I remember it. So Duram is definitely number one. Um, I don't think I fought Nico Name too much, but I'm pretty sure I fought him once or twice. But remembering he wasn't anything difficult. The second person that comes to mind who is quite difficult is Bixcayo. He would be probably my number two. This is all top of my head.
Yeah.
Mm. Um, so for sure Duram, Bixcayo. I can't say Blue Hatter because we only fought that one time and he beat me by a decision. I gotta find him some more to see if he'll actually make me sweat. Cause not to take it away from him, I came into that fight relaxed, like just another day.
Yeah.
But then he showed me like, oh shit, this is not another day. He knows what he's doing. So I haven't fought him since then because I've been busy with real life. But hopefully we get around to fighting to really like, okay, I'm gonna give you my all. So yeah. So again, going back, Duran, Bakayo, I would throw you in there in the PCVR version.
Yeah.
Right now on the Quest, you are 100% handicap. And the reason why I throw you in there, especially in the PCR, because I to this day, when I whiff, I when I say whiff, people don't know like it. When I swing and I miss, I call it a whiff. You are the only person that pisses me off when it comes to whiffing because you're one of the very few that actually gets down low enough when I throw these hooks. And you look at me, I'm 205 right now. Every shot counts for me
Yeah.
when it comes like when I miss and I'm like I'm very limited on energy. I gotta pace myself, and I'm fighting you, and you're fucking making me miss. And you have beat me consecutively on PCVR version. It it irritates me. There's no one else that I have faced that makes me whiff to this day more than you. Everyone else, if I hit their guard, sure, but at least I landed. At least maybe either do tiny bit of damage, but they're not ducking. No one's trying to move around. So I would throw you in the mix. I don't think I have a top five, to be honest with you. It's really Duran for sure. I have to go in, or I make sure I'm loosing Big Skyo. Okay, and then you if you were on the PCVR version.
Right.
Um, but other than that, really no one else that I could think that I'm gonna go in there. I'm like, all right, I gotta be on my game. Not even Blair Bear. Blair Bear, way in the past. Like I said, Ronda Rousey days,
Yeah.
where everyone's beyond that.
Yeah. Beaten, retired.
Yeah, beaten and retired from the game. Now, she just pops in like, you don't want this smoke, and then leaves. She's just a troll now at this point.
Yeah.
But there's no one, and I don't want to sound like rude, but like these other people I face, I just, especially CJ. CJ sucks. He knows I love him. We
Yeah.
just like the trash talk.
Yeah.
To this day, he has not beaten me once.
Mm.
Since Quest release, again, because it's so rare, I remember since the Quest has dropped, two people have beaten me. Lil Linguini, because we were in the third round. I've knocked him down so many times. We had like 20 seconds left, and I just wanted to lay him out. So I became a, a fool and just started swinging. He clocked me with a good one in the last 20 seconds of the third round. And of course, the one time I get knocked down, I don't get up. So Lil Linguini and Blue Hatter. Blue Hatter beat him by decision. Can't remember the points on it. I think it was like 37 to 39. I think he beat me by like 2 points or something like that. But yeah, since Quest dropped, what, last month or longer than that, no one has beat me but those two. I'm still
Awesome.
waiting. I would say I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna be the way Mayweather VR boxing.
Yeah.
but, um,
Yeah, definitely.
but but people don't know, like you're the first person I told like how much what I put into it to learn like, hey, where the hits got to land, where it counts. And it kind of sucks now because on the Quest version you don't have a bot. I think you have a training dummy you can hit.
Yeah.
But I've done it so much I don't even touch the training dummy. So yeah, like when you put in like the time that I did to, okay, I'm gonna just hit here. What's my damage? Hit there. What's my damage? All right, okay, I'm just gonna throw jab cross multiple for the whole round and see what the damage is on this bot. And that's literally what I did. And then just worked on my guard. Um, the only thing I would say that I'm lacking on is obviously is like it's just stamina. Like if I face someone like you, like if it goes 12 rounds, I got to make sure I pace myself and keep you from ducking me.
Yeah.
I got to make sure every shot counts. I whiff a shot. It's so demoralizing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so those are I would say my top three? Yeah, top three. You, the pain in the ass, and Duran and Big Skyo. Everyone else, they're tough, but I'm not worried. You've knocked me out with that stupid duck left haymaker. I remember that.
Chuck Liddell.
The
Yeah.
fucking I remember it because again, it's so rare. I still remember you ducking me. I'm like, here, all right, he's gonna go for the body. Whoop, and out. And
Yeah.
I dropped. I should have kept my fucking guard up.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, people beat me. People get those. Hisnaga's beating me. A lot of people have beat me. It's just where I consider them like, damn, they're surpassing me. No, not yet. I haven't felt that yet. Maybe Blue. We'll see. I got to face him again.
Yeah.
It's definitely not CJ. If you're watching the CJ, you'll always be trash. Nah, love that. Yeah, that guy's cool. He's very competitive and likes to trash talk, so I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, in our last fight, I started bouncing around doing the little KSI hand bombs, testing out his style. It's trash. It
It
gasses the hell
it's
out of you.
it's funnier because you're like 3 feet tall in the game. Doing these jumping jacks, I'm like, I know what he's doing, but he looks even goofier because he looks like a 9-year-old kid
Yeah.
doing this damn jumping jacks. So it's cool, man.
It's not a good style. That's why he lost to Tommy Fury. He would have had the knockout power if he wasn't doing those stupid jumping jacks. It looks cool,
Well,
but it's not.
he I'm not sure if you've seen it. He went on his, Logan Paul's podcast. He explained why he did it. If you haven't seen it, he says he did it to measure distance to stop Tommy from landing that the jab that he's got. And on the podcast, he admitted that he sparred so many people Tommy's size, and that he knew going in he did not have the knockout power. There was no way with his size that he could knock out Tommy Fury,
Yeah.
because he says he's landed some shots on these sparring people, but he couldn't. He just didn't have the power. So I'm like, oh, it's cool for him to flat out say that.
Yeah.
On top of the reason why he was doing jumping jacks
Yeah.
good the whole time. But it was cool seeing him land that one hook on the first or second round. It
Yeah.
almost made Tommy fall.
Oh, yeah.
So, so that
It'd have
was
been a
cool.
slip.
Yeah.
The first one on
Tough.
Jake Paul was not a slip. You got jabbed and you reacted and you fell. That is not a slip. I watched his feet. So for all you Jake Paul haters, stop it. He did not slip.
These circus fights are the best. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a main UFC guy, but every now and then I'll dab and see what's going on in the boxing world.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun watching those. I admit it. I watch them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I mean, Jake lost. You can at least give him the credit of saying he got his knockdown. I mean, he did not slip. He got punched and he fell.
Hmm.
We might as well call it everything a slip at that point.
I do wish that Jake Paul did beat Tommy, and I do wish the KSI beat Tommy.
Yeah.
I feel like something shady's going on, and I wish Francis beat uh, Tyson.
Mhm.
And I'm like, damn, something. But for what Francis did in his first boxing match ever, like that's really awesome,
Yeah.
commendable.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, he put the undefeated down.
Yeah. It's too bad we'll never see him and John Jones fight. So that's a sad day for the fans.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So next up here, I was gonna ask you, what is your most memorable VR boxing moment? Like out of everything, when you think VR boxing, what's the first moment or fighter that comes to your mind?
Most memorable. Shoot, man. My immediate thought, my most memorable would have to be, and more respect to Ice Bear, was when I figured her out. We fought, and I remember it. We fought 3 times back to back, and I beat her all 3 times. And I'm like, huh, I solved the puzzle. I figured you out.
Yep.
Even with those ones, I'm like, all right, cool. I think that's definitely the top memorable moment that immediately comes to my mind, because it's just the competitive person to me. This person was better, so I have a lot of respect for this person, even though we did not get along at all. And the whole Discord
Yeah.
issues, I still respected you as a player because you are better. So of course I want to fight the best person. Like, some of these people, like, I don't want to, like, some people in the Discord won't even fight me. They're like, no, I don't want to fight you. I'm like, why? You want to fight someone better to get better.
Yeah.
So I would say that's definitely right off the top of my head. It's another memorable moment. I think that is, if I could think of another one, I'll mention it. But my immediate thought was going back to figure out the puzzle known as Ice Bear, aka Blair
Yeah.
Bear.
Yeah. I wanted to ask that question because anytime I personally think of it, I always think back to our first tournament fight where I knew you were good and I knew that I was going to lose. So I was going to come in and just try to purely show exactly what I can do. Like, I know I'm not going to win, but I want to show that I can actually box. Like I
Mhm.
had the skill, and then once I had already lost that one fight and I was down, I was frustrated from your guard. I just finally was like, "Fuck it," and I just started throwing what I like to call the turn A combo now, and I actually implemented it into my fights I did against CJ not too long ago.
Mhm,
I just like throw my hands down, I'm like, all right, let's go. And I just hit you with as many combos as I can. So I'm gonna end the
mhm,
fight right. Like I'm gonna overwhelm you if I know I'm gonna lose. Like it's about to be
mhm.
it's the last round, gonna go to decision. I know I'm done. I'm gonna overwhelm you. I'm gonna gas you out and show you that I could have kept that pace the entire fight if I wanted to.
Oh my god. Yeah, you threw that technique when you fought Jay in this last tournament. And to me, I'm like, that's not aura.
No.
That is not I know he's got technique and I know he knows how to move his feet, but he stood there and banged with Jay Baca, who was banned.
Hmm.
Another issue, forgettable person.
Yeah.
But I remember that and I'm like, what the heck was that? Aura, no. But you're like I said, you're handicapped on this quest version for whatever reason. I don't know. I would uninstall the game or just use this as a reason to go just get the quest 3.
Yeah, for sure.
um, but that's that's funny. Like these players that I fight, I'm not sure if it just boils down to fight IQ because they all kind of have the same. They do the same thing. Excuse me. They do the same thing, the same attack over and over. And I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna wait for you to do it. Um, and that's what makes it easy for me, and that's what also is what threw me off with when it came to Blue as my most recent memory because I expected to him come in and just spam hands, and I'm like, I'm gonna just land on. Well, when you do something different, you're gonna throw me off. Uh, but the majority of players, when I tell them over and over, stop doing the same shit, uh, start throwing different combinations, do something different, don't stand and bang, like get out of your comfort zone because if you stay doing the same thing over and over, you're never gonna get better. That comes with anything in real life in the sports world. Like you do the same thing over and over, you're gonna get knocked out, choked out. But you also have to remember the audience of this is it's a game. You're gonna fight the majority of younger people to older folks that just have no real world technique. But there are some that really want to learn and
Yeah.
really want to, which is really awesome. Um, so that's cool. But I players, please stop throwing the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Try something different,
Yeah.
and you will get better at a game. Just like you play Call of Duty, you play all these other games. Like this boxing game is no different. It's a video game. You just have to figure out different combinations that work. Um, don't put this game on a pedestal and make it seem like it's something completely different when really it is. It's just another video game. That's all.
Yeah.
Now it just requires physical effort over a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah. Definitely.
Ah, man. Oh, and stop this whole play space issue, man. There's these Japan fighters. I've seen where they fought. Some of them throw up their webcams very rarely, but they are in a very tiny space,
Yeah.
and they're still very good. So some players that complain about that, I'm like, you should see some of the pictures they post. They got bloody hands from punching the wall. One dude, oh, was it? I think it's Mama Vio. He's his controllers are cracked. His HUD is Vive. I can't remember what system he plays on. It's not the Vive. It's not a Quest. It's an actually older headset, and that thing is held by duct tape.
Dang.
With how much? Yeah, duct tape. So these people like they make do with the space that they have. Um, so, but not everyone's gonna be happy with the game.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking on that, what's a feature that you think VR boxing kind of needs to evolve in the future?
What needs to go in it to push it.
Yeah, like what is a feature that you personally think absolutely needs to be added or like either thrill the fight or era of combat per se, kind of just boost it.
to boost it. I feel like it's hard to say anything about Throw the Fight just because I have very limited time on it. Um, for EOC, for for that one to be boosted, I think it needs a number of things. Cosmetics, because gamers at the end love the cosmetics. They want to be able to customize, be different from who you're fighting. Stop looking at the same thing over and over. Uh, Definitely cosmetics, just to make it more personable. Uh, More fight venues. I've seen the fight venues on the PCVR version, and man, that I'm not sure if you've played it, but when I played the one map with like 20,000 fans,
Yeah,
the walk in with explosions and like, this is it. This is the league.
yeah,
But we're kind of stuck to this kind of backyard type venue, which isn't bad. At the end of the day, it's playable,
yeah,
but it definitely needs cosmetic work, uh, more venues. I got it. The most important thing I would say is, uh, if this counts as a fight mechanic, or like to be able to tell if your punch actually hit or it didn't. For some reason, EOC, like, even to this day, I've been playing for almost 2 years. It's still a little difficult to tell, like, did I hit your guard? Did I hit through your guard and land? I can only really tell if I land a precision hit and it's like yellow or purple. But a lot of the times I'll hit the jab or like I'll hit the guard and the player, like, blood will come out and I'm like, did I just do damage? I can't tell. So I think I would say the fight mechanics, actually take it all back, fix the fight mechanics.
yeah,
I know it's come a long way though. I had to go back and say, like, where it started in the little time with one developer. It's definitely come a long way.
yeah.
Now throw the fight. Um, Shoot, just add multiplayer and let's see. Because I hate when people compare throw the fight to EOC. People, it's buttery smooth and throw the fight because you're not fighting someone else with an internet connection. So that's one big thing. And two, what a lot of people don't know is when I played Throw the Fight is when it was first came out years ago, and that game was garbage. Just as EOC was considered garbage when it came out. And people don't remember that. They only see a 6, 7 year old game now that's pretty polished, comparing it to another game that has not hit 2 years yet. So I hate that comparison. It feels so much better on Throw the Fight, sure, but you're also not considering the latency issues and that it's just at still its infancy. Throw the Fight was trash too when it came out.
Yep.
Um, But we'll see what Throw the Fight too. I know we keep going back to that, but
Yeah.
everyone's just waiting for it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I personally hope to see some form of clinching added to kind of combat phasing into the player. So I would like to see kind of like maybe I'm kind of pulling this from wrestling too, but like whenever say somebody's in the corner and they're holding on to the ropes and you go and you try to like put them in a hold or drag them off, the referee counts to like 5. Or if
Hmm.
you have a submission, they grab the rope, the referee counts to 5. I would like to see something like you clinch and then that as long as you're inside the player, I guess you want to call it, you go
Hmm.
into like clinch mode and the referee will do like a count and you only get like 2 or 3 clinches per round. And if you do it after that, you get a point deduction. And if you do it after that, you get disqualified.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
like
If they
to
could
something
solve
like
that,
that.
that'd be awesome. And now that you made me think of it, like, you know how awesome it would be to be able to effectively land uppercuts,
Oh yeah.
like like actually boxing, like fighting techniques to throw the hits that you would love to throw. Because right now, I know for regular Quest players with the regular controllers, I bet everyone gets infuriated when they try just to throw a jab cross.
Mhm.
Because throw a jab, it registers. You throw a cross too quick, I've noticed, it will not register. If it's too fast for some whatever reason, you may get lucky, it might register. I don't have to deal with that anymore because I got the Pro controller, so the tracking it tracks itself, so the much better improvement. But I know for the inside out tracking, it sucks. And it also sucks that you can't have your guard as tight because as soon as you get too close, everything gets wacky. So
Yeah,
it all, yeah, just boils down to fight mechanics, like figuring that stuff out on top of working with hardware that you're limited to what you can do. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'd be nice to have like a little VR gym, like a bigger venue where people can load in and kind of spar with each other.
a social, yeah. And he wrote that down a long time ago. Oh, we'll do a social like venue where people can hang out before they go into a fight. That'd be cool. Like we can actually see who's on, who isn't. Oh man, I'm gonna suggest it again.
Yeah,
Like I know it's been this long, but we need this. When people come and hang out and try and throw down. Not just at what cost would that be for Stevens? Like, see, I'm not a game developer. I'm not
yeah,
sure what cost wise that would take to would that cost money to run a permanent like server or something to be able to host that where everyone can join it sitting there. I don't know.
yeah.
I have no
Maybe,
idea.
maybe you could try to work it in as like instead of joining somebody's match, you can join somebody's like training venue,
Hmm.
something along the lines of that. And I'm not, I dabble in coding a little bit, but I've never really tried making. I've tried making a game, but I can't really get super far. So I definitely respect any developer that can fully finish a game.
But shoot, maybe that's something to write down like for that question, like what would it take to make like a social gym server where anyone can join it? Like what are the costs involved? That's a good one, man.
Yeah,
We got to hit them up.
yeah. Do a Beyond the Developer episode.
Right? Shoot.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So I guess as like a little fun show closer question here,
Mm.
I'll go ahead and ask this. If you could do a VR crossover, you could challenge like any real life boxer to a match in era of combat. If you could pick any boxer, who would you pick and why?
uh, obvious answer, Canelo.
Yeah.
Why? Because it'll put me on the map, and I could tell my wife to say I did it. No, but no, it would definitely be him because or whoever gives the most exposure to this. I'm like that would just be so cool to fight somebody and knowing that he can't really hurt me in real life.
Yeah.
I
So
won't
you got
go
to
home and
fight him.
I won't go home in a body bag.
Yeah.
So, but that no, it would definitely be cool to fight someone at his like tier level to see how well it translates to the video game. Because everyone here, some people are like, I'm a real life boxer. This game, sucks, but like, no, let's get someone with some credentials.
Yeah, like
And
a
I
up
think that's
there.
like peak, yeah, the peak right there. And see, like, put him up against me, and if I beat him, then we truly know this game is broken. If I beat Canelo in EOC, this game is broke.
Yeah.
uh, and now, honestly, now that you made me think about it, it just popped in my head that question: what feature should we add? I'm not sure if you heard of this. It's called the Oh Wow suit. It's basically not a haptic feedback suit that we've all been seeing. It's an actual kind of like I can't remember the name of the polyester material that sticks to you. And you can see videos on YouTube. They're already making other games compatible with it. But if you get hit, like in the chest, it legit shocks you.
Wow.
Like it stimulates it to like you feel something and you can set the levels, thresholds, and that would be pretty cool
Yeah.
to have something like that. Even it even has it on the arm. So like if someone hits you in the shoulder, you actually feel like a shock.
Yeah.
So that would be awesome. I think that is the next level. Like actually feel some experience real life.
Yeah.
I don't want to say pain, but if you set up to level 10, yeah, you'll feel some pain.
Oh yeah.
But there's this VR YouTuber. I'm sure you've heard of him, Thrill Seeker.
Mhm.
Yeah, he went, experienced it. He said he experienced what felt like a knife in the game go into his body and like twist it. I'm like,
Ooh,
whoa. And like he's showing like the different levels that you can have it, how strong you want it to be. I'm
that's
like,
crazy.
wow, that would be cool to put it in a game, or like to put in some fighting game,
Yeah.
and like feel the body shots somewhat. That
Yeah.
would be dope. I think that's the next one right
Yeah,
there.
that'd be so cool to get like a haptic mode where you could have a real life knockdown, just set up to like 10, and if it detects that you go down, you actually go down.
Yeah. Like if it's a permanent RNG knockdown in a game, it's gonna permanently shock you until to the 10 count. Like you can't get up. That would be great.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. If you got
Hey, you
health
know what?
issues, don't play.
Shoot, man. Oh, I remember I brought it to Stevens a while ago. Like, yo, make this compatible with the suit. That'd be dope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. But Canelo, get Canelo to play this game.
Hello. It's a
You
good
know,
pick. I think I'd pick Ryan, Mr. King
Ryan
Ryan
Garcia.
Garcia. We can see who's better at body shots.
True. Bring it. Like I said, me, it's just who will bring the most exposure to it. I'll fight Mayweather. Bring him in here. Who cares? Well, not Mayweather. He's kind of slowly falling off. But
Yeah.
yeah, Ryan up there. Uh, Obviously Canelo. Shoot, bring Connor since he's a boxer apparently.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I definitely appreciate you coming on here for the first ever episode of Beyond the Boxer.
Dude, that it was awesome for sure, man. We definitely got to do this again. I definitely hope to see more of your stuff. Get these other players, get to know who they are, and that'd be dope, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, for
Hope we
sure.
do this again, man.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right,
I'd be down for it.
cool. Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the first episode.
All right,
All right. We'll see you all in the next episode.
man.